Wrapped in the
This is my prediction video, right? I get this from my grandmother, right? She grew up in the Great Depression. She was born in 1917. And you could do the math. When was the Great Depression she grew up in? And she used to always say, it's going to be a Great Depression again, right? My prediction is it's going to be here real soon because right now we're in a recession, even though they're not saying it, it is. Because it's like a repeat. First you had the COVID, which was 2019, which they was trying to say, oh, it's like the flu 100 years prior. It's like they're trying to repeat it. I'm gonna think I want to store this video, but I might show it anyway. But you give me your opinion, what you think. I think it's gonna be a repeat. And we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But every year for the last couple of years, they always been doing this. But right now, I work in transportation. I believe when transportation slow, when people not buying freight gets slow. And they said this the slowest it's been in 5 years. And if it get any worse, it's gonna be bad for the United States. I'm predicting the depression. I'm gonna be the one of the ones who lose everything. So I'll be out there with y'all. The rich people will be rich. But let's go.
the language of politics in a process that in most years has gone by without fanfare, the warning signs of economic peril are growing louder tonight. The financial well-being for individual Americans and the prestige of the entire nation at stake as negotiators seek a compromise solution to raise the debt ceiling. It's required for Washington to pay its
But it's funny, they raised the debt ceiling, but when it's a war for Ukraine, they got all the money. We got to give you this many billion. Hey, give all the people the money. You know, give all the people the money. We paying it anyway in taxes. They gonna get you for the taxes either way it go.
bills and avoid defaulting on loans. Tonight, the first outward signs of anxiousness among credit rating agencies. So how much time is left? Treasury Secretary Yellen says early June. That's a week from now.
But every dynasty always falls. Some last 100 years, some last 500 years. If you know history, you would know that. And most of us, hey, like I say, since a half century, I realized if you make it to hundreds, you lucky. So if you make it a half a century, you doing something. That's why if you under a quarter century, that's why they said your mind don't develop till you 25 because you don't know nothing till you at least a quarter century. For 18 years, most of us gonna be living at home with our parents. You ain't out here living in the world yet. Nobody respects you like that unless you're an entertainer.
Now, before the checking account could run out of money, there is progress.
I'm saying if you're an entertainer, you might have a lot of money in other ways, but the wisdom and knowledge you won't have.
To report as the two sides reckon over spending cuts. The one thing both seem to agree on is that the consequences of the U.S. missing payments will be swift and it will be severe. Felt from
He said swift and severe. I be missing payments when I ain't got it, and right now I don't got it.
Wall Street to your street. Peter Alexander lays it all out for us.
Tonight, just a week from a potential default and another.
He said a week, but they always do something right before that week up. They always do something.
Firm warning from the president.
It is time for Congress to act now.
Amping up.
Never trust a man who wears sunglasses when he talk. Never trust a man who covers their eyes. That's what I'm saying. When you can't see their eyes, if it's his regular glasses, yeah, but he's covering his eyes. Why? Is he high? Nah, I doubt that he's the president. But I'm just saying, if he's covering his eyes, his reason, maybe his eye black.
The urgency, a new alarm bell overnight, with a top credit rating agency warning it might downgrade America's AAA credit rating, citing increased political partisanship.
You hear that? They said they're going to downgrade the United States credit rate. To who? Who? I mean, I don't know much about the Finch rate. Now I'm gonna have to look that up and see what it is. And I might do a little short, brief thing on that.
That's hindering reaching a deal and the deterioration in governance. It all comes down to President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, their teams still negotiating.
And they're making progress.
I'm the total optimist. We will get this done.
The standoff remains over spending, House Republicans demanding significant cuts, while the White House wants to protect funding for social programs. Tonight, key
What social programs? What social programs? Can I get some?
conservative Republicans who have the power to derail any deal are urging McCarthy to hold out until Democrats slash more spending. NBC's Ali Vitale with Republican Chip Roy.
Why they always make it like it's a Republican Democrat? If the rating go down, it's gonna affect the United States, and all them people live here, as far as I know, so that's gonna affect everybody.
Don't take an off-ramp that's 5 exits too early. A deal for the sake of a deal is no good.
Democrats worry the president may be giving away too much to get a deal. Progressive Pramila Jayapal telling NBC News, I think the backlash will be significant if somehow we were to get bullied into a bad deal. The stakes are high. As early as June 1st, the Treasury Department could start missing payments, which could trigger a Wall Street meltdown with 401ks losing value. Then a potential hike in interest rates.
But ain't that the same thing that happened like in 2008 in the housing crash? I didn't do no videos then, but I did fall down in the housing crash, and I came back up, but it took me about 8 years. But at 58 years, I'll be 60. You know, when you're young, you got to make the right moves. It's like a chess game. That's life. But if you just out here making silly moves and doing stupid stuff, you know, especially you 15-year-olds and you under 18, you got all the knowledge from older people. It's to take time. It takes understanding. You can make it.
Making mortgages and credit card bills more expensive. And within weeks, it could spark a recession and massive job loss.
Spark a recession. We are in the recession. Just because they're not saying it on the news. Like I say, I work in transportation. I've been working in transportation for since 2006. And in transportation, I always teach when the freight is slow, that means people not spending. People are not spending. Want information on anything, leave a comment, and I'll explain more in another video.
The American people deserve to know that the Social Security payments will be there. The Veterans Hospital will remain open, and that economic progress will be made, and we're going to continue to make it.
And Peter, we hear about the deadline, the ticking clock approaching, but both the president and Congress are preparing to head out of town.
Lester, that's right. The House is heading home. Republican leaders say they'll call their members back if there is a deal. The White House says that President Biden will be at Camp David and in Delaware this weekend.
Hey, we all gonna be off this weekend. Enjoy Memorial Day. Ever since when I've been growing up, Memorial Weekend, it's like your birthday weekend, whatever. You know, my birthday always fall on Memorial, so it's always like a holiday to me. So everybody kind of sits back, barbecue, and just relaxes that day. It's like the beginning of the summer holiday. And then Labor Day is like the end, and then everybody goes back to, you know, because it depends on what region you live in. I live in cold region, that's what we do. But I did grow up in Southern California. They still do the same thing. Memorial, it's a holiday.
And that he can work from there. Lester.
All right, Peter Alexander at the White House. Thank you.